Matt Reel, the head coach of the Canfield girls basketball team. Coach, how are we doing today?
Doing wonderful. Just another normal day at Canfield High School.
Yeah, here we go. I love it. Coach, we brought you on because obviously we're so excited to preview the Canfield girls basketball season. Before we ask you about your roster and your schedule, why don't we just have a little recap of last year and the things obviously you learned from that great run that you had and some of the things that you're going to take from last year into this year?
It was a really special year. It was a team that finished the year with the second most wins in team history with 25. We had two other teams that had a 26-win season. So it was a really special year. It was a great group of girls to work with, and it was just a really fun ride. And what we're trying to take with it this year is I think the biggest thing we can take is that some of our younger players were able to see what's possible. We hadn't made a run that deep in a while, at least been 10 years. So I think everybody got to experience that and get excited about it. And, we're just building back from square one right now.
They saw what's possible, and they also saw what it takes, what the standard is to get to that point. In the summer and the preseason, have you seen that standard of excellence, stayed where it was last year, even with the seniors that you obviously graduated after last season?
I think every team develops that at some point in the year if you're going to have a special group. And, we're still working on that because the group we had was very experienced in terms of they had a lot of varsity experience. Our group this year doesn't have as much. And, our scrimmage schedule has been very challenging. And, last night we went up to Solon and probably the best we have in any of our scrimmages so far, which was really encouraging. But we think that our players are ready for that, but they all kind of developed that at the certain time. And what made last year's group so special was they just craved coaching. They didn't want to be just average, and they really wanted to be pushed. And every team kind of develops at their own pace. So we're still working on that this year.
Let's talk about this roster that you're bringing up. Obviously, there's going to be some new faces on the floor this year. Who are some big names that you're going to be leaning on? Who should we know about this year about Canfield?
Sure, we're going to lean on our senior class. Our only 2-year varsity player is going to be Kami Dill coming back, our point guard, and she's got the most varsity experience out of anyone. So we're going to rely on her to do a lot this year. Our other seniors, Macy Kalina, Grace McQuiston, and Kami Ritz, all played significant minutes off the bench, and they've had solid preseasons, and all of them are adjusting to new roles. Our other starter back is Jenna Treveri, who had a really, really good freshman year, and as a sophomore, she's still figuring things out at the varsity level in her new role. We got a couple juniors that are competing for time, Marina Koenig and Aline Bearcat, and then we have a host of sophomores that are all competing for time. Carly Fleming has done a nice job in the preseason. We have several. Sammy Economist, Lori Janone's new to us this year. Jenna Havrilla, Cece McElroy. I'm thinking missing one more has been competing with us, and Sophia Castronova have all been competing for time. So we feel like we have a pretty good group in terms of pushing themselves, and we're still trying to figure out our rotations a little bit.
You look at some of those players you mentioned, and they've been on successful teams in the last 365 days since the last basketball season, whether they were on the softball team that went to the state finals or maybe the soccer team that had undefeated season. When you see that the kids have so much success, and do you think success trickles down into basketball now?
I think it's a special place to coach because I think our female athletics are as good as any school in the area, and our girls really feed off that. We were as excited as anybody to see our softball team make the run last year they did at the state finals. We had several players play that, and I think that winning breeds winning. Same thing with our soccer this year. They had a sensational season, and I think programs feed off that, and we love the fact that we have girls playing those sports too. And I think anytime you get a chance to be in those competitive situations, it's going to serve you well for our sport also.
All right, Coach, let's talk about your schedule. We'll start with the conference inside that AAC. Going to be a tough one like it is every year. What do you expect out of the conference this year? What can we see out of it?
I think probably the team with the most returners is probably Austintown Fitch. They've had a group that's been together the most. They're a very athletic group and a very talented group, and I know Dan's going to do a great job with them. Howland is one of our always big rivals, and they have everybody back also, and I think they're going to have a really nice squad. Warren Harding, I know Frank played a lot of younger players, very athletic group last year, and they're going to be a handful. And Coach Hamerton and Boardman, it seems like every time we play Boardman over there and at home, it's just a dogfight because he gets those girls to play exceptionally hard. So I think it's going to be one of those years where I'd be shocked if somebody went through that league undefeated. We obviously hope we're going to be able to do that, but I think it's going to be a really, really difficult league schedule for all the teams.
It's a tough conference, but it's a smaller one. So you also have a lot of opportunities to go outside of it and test yourselves a lot in the non-conference. Here's some teams this year that pop up on your schedule that you're really excited to go in and test yourself against.
You know, a new addition this year is we have Kenny Catholic coming in, who won the state title in PA last year. We're also going to go to Burton for a tournament. We're playing Doylestown Chippewa, who was in the Division III state finals last year, in addition to West Branch, Talmadge, Struthers. Alliance is a new addition this year. We have Streetsboro, who's going to be one of the better teams around in Division II. Those are just a few of them. We go away to Stowe again. I think our non-league schedule, every year I say it's difficult, and I think this might be the best one in terms of just competitiveness, but we're excited about it. Our girls don't really want to play games where we're winning by 50. We want to be challenged, and I think that will definitely happen with our schedule.
And anytime you talk about your schedule, I'm always raising my eyebrows. But this year, like you said, I mean, two teams that played in state last year and in Chippewa and Kennedy Catholic. I mean, that's raising the bar to the next level, and I can't wait to see both those games and all the games that you're playing this year. My buddy Scotty's here with us on a Wednesday. He always brings a question to the interview. So Scotty's today, then he hit you with one now.
Yeah, Coach. So I was just wondering, for you, because the other programs have been successful, and you said that you think that winning breeds winning. Is it just as simple as you, um, with your coaching philosophy, are you gonna not be the 95%? Is it gonna be coaching to your girls' strengths, or do you think you can maybe add some new things in there that maybe they're not used to that you could have with?
I think, you know, each group you have, I think they have their own set of strengths, and every coach goes into the preseason with an idea of what they think their team's going to be good at, and then when you do scrimmages, you find out, hey, this is working, this isn't working. We've always been along the philosophy where we're with the KISS method, keep it simple, and we're trying to do that, and we just try to accentuate what the strengths of our team are, and you know, try to minimize those weaknesses as we're working on doing those. But I think the more you put in, you know, I've always heard that the more the players think, their feet get slower. We don't want them doing that. You know, if we're going to add something, we always try to subtract something so that our players aren't thinking as much as more reacting and learning how to play the game of basketball. And I think other sports do the same thing. You know, our soccer team, you know, a lot of those concepts they do in soccer apply to the basketball court. Maybe not as much softball, but, you know, there's still strategy there and learning how to compete in different avenues.
Coach, that feeds right into my next question is, what do you think the strengths of this team are going to be this year? I mean, you've had a chance to see them a little bit in scrimmages, and you've had the chance to obviously work with them all summer. What do you think are going to be some of the strengths that you see out of the roster this year?
I think we're going to become a good shooting team. We haven't shot the ball extremely well in our scrimmages. Last night was the first time we really shot the ball like I think we can. I think this is going to be a group that as the year goes on, I think we're just going to keep getting better and better. I think our best basketball we're probably going to play at the end of the season, and hopefully we're ready to do that once our league play starts. I think they're going to be a team. It's a hard-working team. They're a fun group, and they're a coachable group. And I think when you have that, you have a chance to be pretty good. And I think we're eventually going to become a better defensive team than what they are. That's one of the things we really pride ourselves on, and we're getting a lot better at that. But we better be good at defense, and we better become a better rebounding team. But I think our shooting is going to – we need to make outside shots because we don't have a great inside presence. as a traditional post. So we need to make some shots to beat those teams.
You were definitely a great shooting team last year. We hope that trend continues because that's always fun to watch. Coach, I wanted to give you the chance to shine a light on your coaching staff. We know that the head coaches get the interviews, of course, but you have a lot of great people behind you helping you make this program what you want it to be. So I want to give you another chance this year to take a light and shine on your coaching staff.
Sure, I appreciate that. I think it all starts. We're pretty blessed. We have parents in our youth program that do a great job just preparing our young ladies for 7th and 8th grade basketball. Our 7th grade coach is Mike Merritt. He's been doing it about 20 years, and our 8th grade coach is Jim Harmon, and he's been doing it just as long. And those are two gentlemen down there at the middle school that I always know that their girls are getting coached and they're doing what we want, and they're going to do things that are going to carry them, and our girls come knowing what they need to know at the varsity level. Our JV coach is going to be Krista Nesbitt this year, and she's also our volleyball coach. And if you know Krista, she's always got boundless energy, and she's always a positive impact. And she's a really good young coach. Our kind of toggling between the JV and our varsity assistant is Coach Pat Pavlansky, and he coached the team for 19 years as a varsity coach before I took over from him. And I think he loves his role as assistant, and for whatever reason, we work really well together, and I think we complement each other well. And he does a lot of behind-the-scenes work in the summertime, and just doing things that take some things off my plate. And I couldn't be more thrilled with our coaching staff.
Everybody needs a Pavlansky on staff. There's a lot of them throughout the area, so everyone needs one, right?
Sure.
Coach, I want to give you also the question that we've been giving all the coaches this year in our season previews. It's about the love of the sport. We all love it, whether we're broadcasting it, playing it, or coaching it. We love the sport of basketball. When did you start to love the sport of basketball? What's your journey look like into feeding this passion for the sport?
My story kind of starts. I grew up on a family farm, and when I was old enough to pick up a ball, my dad put in a basketball hoop with my grandfather, and I quickly found out if I was shooting the basketball, I didn't have to do as many chores on the farm. So to be honest, for me, it was getting out of work a little bit, but I just always had a love of the game. And I can remember when I was younger, I would shovel off the driveway because we had a gravel driveway, and in the wintertime, I'd be shooting in the snow and have two balls, and you'd keep one warm, and then if you couldn't do that, it was too wet outside, I'd be shooting a Nerf hoop in the basement. And it was just something I love the game because it's so fast. You have to play offense and defense. I think you have to be a really good athlete to play it. I obviously wasn't a really good athlete playing it, but I really love the sport, and I think that's where it developed. And my dad would always come and rebound for me when he wasn't plowing the fields or making me do it. We'd play 2-on-2 games, 3-on-3 games, and it was just always a fun way to spend the summers doing that. So that's kind of where my love started. It was kind of an odd way to start it that way, but that's just the way it worked out. And I think through that, I started developing a love of the game, and just you can always do something better in it.
Do you ever tell any of your players, hey, if you stay for a little bit and take more shots, you won't have to do chores at home?
Well, I'm not going to speak for their parents, but my dad never told me that. But I quickly realized that growing up that was a good thing to do, and I became a pretty good shooter because of it, I think.
Coach, we want to shout out your first game for the Canfield community before we let you go.
We play next Wednesday night, the night before Thanksgiving. We go over to Struthers and get a chance to play in that wonderful facility known as the Struthers Fieldhouse. So we're excited. We have one more scrimmage this Saturday to get ourselves ready, and we're really excited to go see Coach Ritz and the Lady Wildcats over there.
First official day of the season, and Canfield's on the floor. No surprise there, Coach. We will see you out there on the 22nd at Struthers. We can't wait for the season to start. Obviously, wish you the best of luck, and we can't wait to talk to you real soon.
Thanks for having me. Have a good day, Anthony and Scotty.
You too, man.